Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
We now have the star of the show, Josh HOFFMAN. And Josh is not only someone who advertises with us, but he's also a friend. And
hello.
Hi, good morning,
Hello
Josh.
out there in the waking up world. Hello.
Right. So, Josh, when I think of marijuana or CBD oil, I always think of you because you really have made the connection more than most people. Most of them, they have their signs in their windows, and you stop in and they maybe have some people who will show you what you're asking for, but most people don't know what to ask for. And you have, from the very first day that I met you, I've been so impressed with the information that you have been providing and sharing.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you, before we get into that, is this what you've been doing ever since you were in high school or school, that you're just an information source of whatever you love?
That is a great question. I am, when I find something that I become passionate about that can make a difference, not just in my life, but, everybody else's, and it's good and it's available, but the obstacle to access is really in people's lack of education. Well, then it just makes sense to take the information that I've known for many, many years and tons of things that I learn new on a daily basis through my association with doctors and just, continued reading and research in the area of marijuana and hemp. And it is always about education. And I, like to say, you lead with education and then you just kind of step aside and then the products will move and they'll be sold. But can't do it the opposite way around. If you have no education, you will have products, whether they're cannabis products or hemp products, sitting on your shelf for a long, long time until you get in the education game, and then everything changes.
And Josh, you interchange the words marijuana and hemp.
Yes.
Explain how you do that.
Yeah, it's kind of comes down to semantics, but at the end of the day, they come from the same genus of plant, the cannabis sativa L plant, and there's two strains, cannabis sativa and cannabis indica, and those are high THC plants with low CBD, whereas a hemp plant is just the opposite. It needs to be certified as agricultural hemp by the Department of Agriculture for the state that's growing it, such as Colorado. And that is a plant that has high CBD, low THC. So in other words, the plant is already legal by the federal government based on the permissible amount of THC in it. So marijuana cannabis, high THC, low CBD, illegal for people to purchase it over the counter unless you're a medical cannabis patient. Hemp, CBD, legal, can be purchased over the counter all 50 states without a doctor's recommendation, prescription, transported over interstate lines, no problem. Can't do that with marijuana cannabis.
Right. And I was telling Josh, I have this wonderful dog, Charlie, and when I adopted him, he had beautiful hair except on his tail. His tail looked like a little rat tail at the end, and and I love him, but all of a sudden, and at night, I give him 2 little drops of the CBD oil that is for pets.
Right.
And I mean, he's got hair in his tail. He never had it. So
I've seen it.
Yeah, I know.
So.
I mean, I'm not really sure. This is like wild. So I'm wondering if a man who wants more hair in his head takes
I wish
this.
I'd have more hair on my head. Maybe I'll start rubbing it around on my scalp instead of putting it under my tongue. I'm missing
pet.
something.
No, maybe because you're not taking the pet
I got to take
one.
the dog one.
I don't know what it is.
Listen, you'd be surprised. I'll come in here next time. You'll be like, what is that grease on? I'll be like,
that
it's
stuff?
my CBD
Just
oil
don't
for
bark.
dogs.
You start barking, then we're
We
in
got
trouble.
issues.
But I want to just tell everyone that there is a company that Josh HOFFMAN, who is actually a partner in, and it's called Health Synergy, and it's located in Boca Raton. And I'm going to give you a phone number because what you'll want to do is really make an appointment because he is so busy. He has more emails than I do, which is a lot. And they all want to talk to him. So the number is, remember, it's Pencil Talk Radio. It's 561-571-5338. called Health Synergy. They're located in Boca Raton. And, of course, you're going to see a lot of signs as you drive around, marijuana, things that sound like marijuana. But why don't you not just go to those places? Why don't you go and get the information that you're going to hear Josh talk for the rest of the show? You'll understand why I think he is a star, and I always tell him that. But, Josh, so when I first met you, it's been now, I don't know, maybe it's 6 months ago, and things were just kind of heating up, but now it's full bloom, isn't it?
It is full bloom. There is, somebody stopped by the store a couple of days ago, and they were, they sat there for 10 minutes. They said, I cannot believe the amount of business that you've had since I've been here. I said, it's every day. And, it takes time. It's grown organically. It's, we have a wonderful relationship with amazing doctors that we are blessed and fortunate to have that connection, that trust us enough to refer their patients to us. And then they get some fantastic anecdotal feedback from those patients. And it kind of keeps the cycle going where they say, hey, if you got a certain symptom from a condition, you should stop by Health Synergy, learn a little bit about hemp, about medical cannabis, and let them select a product for you. What's the worst that can happen is that your symptoms improve, So we've been really lucky, and it has been getting extremely busy where we're hiring more people and expanding to West Palm Beach.
Now we have John Considine.
Hey, John.
My experience is that cannabis-based CBD, for instance, Charlotte's Web and others, was for me much more effective than hemp-based CBD. I tried both, and our hemp product did little or nothing for... Oh, this is interesting, so I'm going to just read this.
Good stuff, John.
Yeah, so I can't read any more of that, but...
That's okay.
Yeah, someone like that ought to come sit and talk to you.
Well, yeah, listen, John is right. Not all CBD is created equal. And if we really want to get down to splitting hairs, John, the reality is the molecules in cannabis and the molecules in hemp are identical. There's not a single difference except for one thing, the amount of THC. So if we take that out of the equation, and you tried a CBD-derived hemp product that wasn't good, it probably just wasn't a good product. Plain and simple.
I'm glad you're bringing that up because I did hear recently now, there's always going to be negative news reports. And I'm hearing stuff's coming in from China that is not very good to be using.
Right.
And it's synthetic. And I couldn't wait to talk to you because we know where you're getting your product. I know Bob Nacelle.
Right.
I know they're doing this as organic out there in Colorado.
Yeah, that's
right. So
right.
that's the other thing that people need to talk to you about.
Yeah.
You can't just go and do this casually because people now are getting very greedy. They want to make money, right?
Anita, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, like the vitamin industry, which is not regulated by the FDA, neither is the hemp CBD, industry. So manufacturers, it's left up to them and their integrity to self-police. In other words, you create and grow this plant. You have batches of it. Now, do you third-party lab test it? Not in-house, but send it out to somebody that you have no affiliation with to test your hemp or cannabis, for that matter, for pesticides, mold spores, heavy metals, toxins, the cannabinoid profile, so lots of different things. And not many manufacturers do that. So it's a small percentage that do, which makes the, scenario of many people, like you said, going online and just being inundated with so much information about CBD and products and pretty pictures on bottle labels that they just go click. Or, this is the best one, pay for the shipping and we'll send you the bottle. So lots of people that come into Health Synergy that I meet have gotten their introduction to CBD. They went online, they ordered a product. And here's the experience, just to be transparent, most often I hear, it really didn't work. And John, you could probably relate to that. I don't know where you got your first bottle of hemp CBD oil. Maybe it was at a store, maybe it was online, but be that as it may, good for you for starting down the path. And then just like I did. I had to search for a while to find a good, efficacious product. But, I have a line of questioning when people come in and say that, and it's really easy. I start like this. I say, okay, so you've tried hemp CBD and it didn't work for you. They said, yes, that's right. I say, okay, where did you get it? Now, most of them say online, and some of them say at a store or at a head shop. It's not a place I'd go to buy CBD, at a place that sells water pipes and water bongs and, things more associated to cannabis. But anyway, be that as it may, they say, yeah, online. And now here goes my questioning. I say, do you remember the name of the manufacturer? They don't. I say, that's problem number one. I say, do you remember how many milligrams was in the formula? They don't. I say, that's problem number two. How did you take it? What do you mean, how did I take it? In my mouth. Well, in your mouth and sublingual are two completely different things. And if you're putting it on top of your tongue and in your mouth, you're not getting the same effects as if you put it under your tongue and you hold it there for at least 60 seconds before you swallow. Next question, is it third-party lab tested? I don't know. So you kind of see why lots of people have experiences with hemp-derived CBD that does not work. They don't know the source. They don't know if it's tested. They don't even know the manufacturer. They don't know the amount of milligrams. They don't even know how the hell to take it.
And that's why Health Synergy is my favorite place, because I know that you are so serious about this just in the last 10 minutes of what you say. So let me give that number again. John, you may want to consider going to meet with Josh. He is extraordinary, and I've been working with people lately doing this, and I can tell the winners and the losers. Health Synergy's number is 561-571-5338, and they're located actually on Federal Highway between Yamato and I would say Glades Road, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm glad that you brought all those issues up, because that's true with most things.
Yeah.
Most people start on all sorts of new innovations, and they don't do the research. And I know you are a research nut.
First of all, I am the guinea pig. I will take it first before I start, talking about it or telling people about it. And of course, I research it. But hey, John, great, things that you brought up. It's all in the education, my friend. Charlotte's Web is a good brand. And John, you bring up a point too that really was not. It was going to kind of more subtle in your question, but there are different strains of hemp. In other words, Charlotte's Web, like you said, that's a strain of hemp. There is AC/DC and Harley's Hope and Ringo's Gift and, lots of different high CBD, low THC strains. So certain strains may be more beneficial for certain people based on their symptoms from their conditions. And I always tell people it's not a silver bullet. Medical cannabis is not a silver bullet. The hemp CBD is not a silver bullet. You got to tinker, practice, find your sweet spot, find the right form factor to take it in. But in pretty short amount of time, we can help dial in a product for you if you come on in and just kind of be transparent with us and tell us what's going on and what your major complaints are and what those symptoms are, and then we can absolutely help you find a product that should help relieve some of those symptoms.
Okay, so Josh, saying that now, I want to ask you about other forms, not just to take something under your tongue.
Yeah.
Rob recently gave me soap.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have that soap now. I'm using that freely. Can I do that? I mean, I don't even know what's
absolutely.
in it.
Yeah,
Is
mostly.
that a problem?
No, not at all. And the more like the beauty products, like the anti-aging and spa type products, they're good. Of course, it depends on the ingredients, and it does have also something to do with the quality of the hemp CBD that's in there and the strength. Is it 50 milligrams or 500 milligrams? But usually you'll find the low amount of milligrams in bars of soap and shampoos and anti-aging, toners and cleansers and things like that in the face. Smaller amounts, but it's good for inflammation overall. Circulation and blood flow, and just a good, nice ingredient in there that
okay. Well,
that can
I have
help
another
out.
question. I keep saving them up when I get you here. So when they come into Health Synergy or some other places, Now you look at chocolate, you look at these gummies, you look at all sorts of forms. What do you recommend for people? What is it that is the difference?
It's it really comes back to the conversation. I think the most popular that we like to, potentially start people out on, unless for some reason they just don't want to do it, is a sublingual, that oil tincture under the tongue, because you have so much control over the amount that you take. In our bottles, the glass eyedroppers are graduated, so they have lines on it. So it makes it very easy to take a measured dose. And we really are medicinal in our approach. We want to be specific and dial in a certain amount of milligrams so that people can start to learn where their quote unquote sweet spot is, right? So once we kind of know where their sweet spot is as far as the amount of milligrams or strength it takes to get them in the zone, so to speak, we can now find other products and arrive at that same dose in different ways if they care to explore and see if other products may even do better. Like, hey, what if I switch to a capsule? Or, hey, what about vaping, inhalation? Or do topical creams work? Et cetera, et cetera. So,
okay, so now we have all these forms, but I want to jump back to what you talked about doctors. So here we have the medical marijuana. We have doctors, I guess, who just want their patients to try the CBD oil. Tell us what happens if you have an actual doctor dealing with you with medical marijuana.
Yeah, great question. So it is different because there are more hoops that one has to jump through. In other words, yes, like you said, Anita, you have to have a qualifying condition. And specifically one that can be documented and kind of proven, not just I get a call and somebody says, I have, terrible, stomach issues and pains, and it's been going on for 3 years. And when I ask them who their gastroenterologist is, they say they don't have one. That's a problem. And guess what? You're not getting qualified for medical marijuana through me, my doctors, or my service. But once we establish a legitimate symptom or condition, then it's just a matter of coming on in, meeting with a doctor, like you said, Anita, that's eligible and qualified to recommend medical cannabis, sign off on some federal consent forms, and then here's the most important part that is not happening in many, many places around Florida: the education for the patient.
Yeah.
Imagine that. They're not getting educated. They're getting their money taken from them, and they're really not sure what they just think they qualified for or how it works. So I don't know how they're going to be successful when they get their email that says, congratulations, patient, you've been approved for medical cannabis. Most of them say, now what? When they come through All Leaf, which is a proud partner of Health Synergy, All Leaf Medical Marijuana Education and Certification, not a single patient will ever say that, because they get proper education. They get a roadmap laid out in front of them to explain how the program works, and they get the support for the entire length of the certification period, which in the state of Florida is 7 months. So when a patient is approved for medical cannabis in the state of Florida, 7 months. And you can continue to recertify, but by law, you need to come back to the physician that initiated the process with you, sign another consent form, and you'll get another 7 months.
Okay, so then I know you're not a physician, but I know you know so much about what they do. What is the difference if, for instance, I'm sure medical marijuana would not be appropriate for Charlie, my dog, and I don't seem to have symptoms that I'm looking for where I take it, and I guess it just helps me, I sleep longer or whatever I do.
Right.
What would be the difference
of
medical marijuana
versus what, hemp CBD, or just like the recreational marijuana
No,
out
let's
there?
not talk about recreational marijuana. What's the difference in the hemp, which is really the
permissible,
medical,
the permissible amount of THC. In other words, Health Synergy, for example, we've never been arrested. We're not going to be arrested because we do business in compliance with the laws. In other words, if you are a manufacturer or a seller or distributor of hemp products, the THC content must not be higher than 0.3%. By federal law, it says 0.3% or less, you're okay. People can buy it over the counter. They don't need that doctor's recommendation or prescription or anything like that. And obviously, people with qualifying conditions don't need a doctor's note to buy hemp CBD products. But when, for example, maybe like in John's case, he tried some, CBD and it didn't work, or it's working but not enough, and they have a qualifying condition, now we have to talk about medical cannabis, because the amount of THC in the dispensaries starts at around 0.7%. That's 0.4% higher than what is allowed in my store. So we stay in compliance by third-party lab testing all of our products. We know the THC content in there is way, way low. I think our most recent test was 0.035%. That's less than 0.1%. Anyway, we comply. But the minute you go over 0.3% THC, you are doing something against the law. You are, working with a Schedule I substance now that is illegal federally, and you can go to jail unless you are either A, a medical marijuana dispensary licensed to give out that product, and B, you are a medical marijuana patient, approved to purchase that product. So that is really the difference, comes down to one molecule, ANITA, THC.
And what really, and you've probably done both, so you test.
Yeah.
What is the difference? What do you feel?
At first, people that don't have a tolerance to THC, it's kind of euphoria in a good way, Some people, though, that can be a little bit unnerving, and I'll give you an example. People that have anxiety disorders, panic attacks, whatever the case may be, THC in high amounts is not your friend. For anybody listening, if you think it is, think back to the last time you tried, let's say, recreational marijuana, and how paranoid you got, and how much your heart pounded and your palms sweated, and you were like, why am I doing this? This isn't fun. This isn't good. People with anxiety disorders stay away from high THC, but you do build a tolerance to THC, so that maybe initial euphoria, which can be described as, maybe a little dizziness, loopiness, giddiness, et cetera, feel the good feeling all over the body, whatever the case may be, can be a little bit off-putting for some people. But as you build that tolerance up, I know people that can, smoke medical marijuana or, take their drops under their tongue during the day. You would never know. You would never know. And it's fairly a decent amount of THC in there. Somebody that was maybe a little bit a novice, let's say, taking the same product, they might not get out of the chair for a couple of hours. So it really, really depends. But people can build up a tolerance to THC so much to a point where they might as well be normal, and they're really just taking that higher level of THC to help modulate their symptoms even more, not to get high, because medicinal marijuana is about using the medicine to treat symptoms of conditions, not like, hey, let's go to the concert and get loopy, right?
Right,
So.
and you see, and we're going to, have only another minute or so, but I have to say, Josh, that there's so many questions out there, and so few people really, they think they're going to answer it, but you're so honest, and you've been very experienced, and you've done so much research. So we're talking to Josh Hoffman, partner in Health Synergy, and the phone number is 561-571-5338, and you can understand why it is complicated and why you really do need to sit with people, and people shouldn't buy online. I also tell people, don't travel and use the facilities online, because you'll get stuck and then you have no one to talk to. But even if you're buying it somewhere else, Josh is more than happy to talk to you.
Correct.
He's not going to charge you a consulting fee, which he should, but he doesn't. But he's really special. And for those of you who have a dog that you want to have maybe quiet him down or get him more excited, Charlie kind of jumps around a little bit more. But I think that this is wonderful that we have someone like you right in our community. Thank you so much for coming, Josh.
Hey, thank you. I always enjoy being in the seat with you, and enjoy the opportunity.
So
and you guys have a great thing going, and you really give a nice platform to people that want to make a difference. If you just
Right.
open up your magazine, all those people, you know they're coming from the heart. You just look at
Thank
what they
you.
do, and
Thank you.
so we
You're
appreciate
very
what you do
sweet.
too.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, we will have Josh on again.